ready for some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Lou? Yeah.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to Thursday Night Football Overtime. Pats, Jets, AFC East family business. If these two teams say they ain't did it, then they ain't did it. But if they did, well, that's family business. This was some light work for the Jets tonight. Made it look relatively easy. This is more along the lines of the Pats team that I thought we would see the first 2 weeks of the season. They're starting to settle into their roles a little bit more. The Jacoby Brissett we saw tonight is the Jacoby Brissett that I expected to see and have seen all season. He hasn't been the reason that they started off playing as well this season. It's been the run game, really, and their ability to kind of dictate how the game goes, the pace, time of possession, et cetera, et cetera. None of that took place tonight. We'll get into the particulars on their side, but to the victors go the spoils. I want to start off by telling you that this stream is brought to you by BetUS. We'll get into some odds and things of that nature a little bit later on, brought to you by BetUS. But for the Jets side of things, this is the Jets team that I feel like is capable of threatening the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC. When I talked about the Jets last year and how I felt like Rodgers could change everything for the Jets because we've seen this team. We understand how good they can be defensively. We know that they've got weapons. They've added weapons. They added weapons 2 years ago when they added Rodgers, or last year when they added Rodgers. They added more weapons this offseason to help further accommodate Rodgers and Mike Williams, et cetera, Braylon Edwards. And so they're stocked full of talent. That's never been the question once Rodgers got on board. It was never about the talent. It's always been about, can they stay healthy and can the defense continue to play the way that it's been playing these last few years, despite not having the offense to carry its own weight. So, a lot of times when we get into these types of situations, you see one of these teams that played tremendous defense and then they finally get the quarterback and then the defense kind of falls off. I was a little worried because in the first 2 weeks, it wasn't the greatest defensive performances by the Jets, especially week one. But I already said week one kind of felt like a pseudo preseason game, being that Rodgers didn't play in the preseason and none of the Jets starters for that matter played in the preseason. So kind of felt like a continuation of the preseason for them. Week two, it kind of felt like they were sleepwalking early. If not for that bad Will Levis fumble, who knows what happens in that game? The Titans were already up 7-0. They were already inside the Jets' 20-yard line. So who knows what would have gone on, but that turnover changed everything in that game, and they kind of hit their stride a little bit, although I still felt like the offense was not clicking quite yet. Tonight, totally different story. Rodgers looked to be in Aaron Rodgers form, like the guy that we saw, not the last year in Green Bay, as they talked about. He was not sharp his last year in Green Bay, but the year prior to that, he won league MVP, and the year prior to that, he won league MVP. So he looked more like that Aaron Rodgers, the league MVP Rodgers tonight. Only 8 incompletions, 27 of 35 for Aaron Rodgers, almost 300 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no picks, never put the ball in harm's way, was probably a hair away from having 3 touchdowns or 4 touchdowns. He had the 50-50 ball he threw to Mike Williams, who, when he's at his best, that's a touchdown, right? I've seen Mike Williams come down with some of the most acrobatic catches you'll see in those one-on-one situations and with jump balls that are thrown in the air. Normally, he's a 70-30 guy where he turns a 50-50 ball into a 70-30 ball. So I'm surprised he didn't come down with it, but he's still working his way back from that major injury as well. So then he had Garrett Wilson wide open. It would not have counted because Garrett Wilson was moving towards the line of scrimmage and created a legal formation. However, Rodgers was definitely dialed in tonight. He's starting to build that rapport with those skill guys. Because I told you in the first 2 games, it kind of felt like he only had rhythm with the running backs, right? Especially last week with the Titans. Felt like everything that he threw was to the running backs. Everything was a check down or was one of the running backs out of the backfield, down the field. He hit Breece Hall for a touchdown down the field. Didn't feel like he was in sync with the tight ends nor the wide receivers. Tonight, different story. I was waiting for Allen Lazard to show up because Allen Lazard isn't Allen Lazard without Aaron Rodgers, just like Nathaniel Hackett isn't Nathaniel Hackett without Aaron Rodgers. It was funny to hear them talk about Aaron Rodgers wanting to play well for Nathaniel Hackett because he wants people to know how good of a play caller he is. No, you playing well for Nathaniel Hackett is going to reinforce what everybody already thinks about Nathaniel Hackett, that he's not good without you. Same thing with Adam Gase without Peyton Manning, and we could go on and on and on, right? Same thing you could probably say about Josh McDaniels without Tom Brady, even though I thought he didn't do too bad of a job with Mac Jones in his rookie season, but that's nor here nor there. A lot of times these smart guys have these tremendous quarterbacks, and then when those tremendous quarterbacks are removed from the equation, these smart guys all of a sudden look like average play callers or below average in the case of an Adam Gase and a Nathaniel Hackett. But that's nor here nor there. Rodgers is fantastic, and when he combines with guys that he's comfortable with, i.e. Allen Lazard, he makes beautiful music because those two can just look at each other and know right away, hey, this guy's playing off coverage. I'm going to just chuck it to you, right? I'm going to just get the football. It's a run. Nobody else knows Aaron Rodgers is changing this thing from a run to a pass except for Allen Lazard. And he just stands up. He looks at him. They know, oh, he's playing 8 yards off. Boop, little hitch. And then he makes a guy miss, breaks a tackle, stiff arm, whatever. And it's big yardage. So good to see Allen Lazard starting to really get back into that groove, because Jets fans were all over Allen Lazard last year when he was not playing well. I'm like, y'all got to ease up on Allen. He didn't sign up for no Aaron Rodgers. When he signed that 4-year contract, he was expecting Aaron to be here for at least 2 or 3 of those years. He wasn't expecting Aaron to be out the first year he signed up. So it was rough for him last year. He's going to settle in nicely. Mike Williams looked good tonight. He's going to continue to work his way back and get even more comfortable. Garrett Wilson, slowly but surely, getting back into the groove. They looked like they were going to have a 1,700-yard season last year. They looked like they were poised to have just a crazy first year together, and then Rodgers goes down. So they got to kind of work their way back. They're starting to do that. It's going to take a little bit of time, but slowly but surely, they're getting into the mix. And then we know about these running backs. How about the tight ends, though? I felt last year going into the season, I was a massive Jeremy Ruckert guy coming out of Ohio State. I love what Conklin did with the Vikings. So him coming over, I thought, man, he's going to be a really good tight end for them. And I think last year they also had the former Bengals tight end from Auburn. Can't remember his name right now. He's no longer there, but I just felt like they were loaded at tight end. And now the tight ends are starting to come to life, right? They came to life tonight, especially Conklin had a big night tonight. So when you factor all of that in, toss in the run game, which wasn't its best tonight. We've seen this run game be more effective, especially last week. And, when they didn't have any quarterbacks, the run game was all they could lean on. Knowing that they have 2 backs back there with Allen and Hall, and then you got the 2 tight ends in Ruckert and Conklin, and you got all these skill guys, all these receivers, even Gibson, you can sprinkle in a little bit of Gibson from time to time. This Jets team is loaded. They got talent, right? Don't know the extent of the injury to Morgan Moses. Hope it's not serious. You always worry about veteran tackles like that going down. But you did draft a kid from Penn State, right? I don't know if he's ready to come in and jump into the right tackle position and help you right now. But that's part of the reason you drafted him, for him to kind of take this apprenticeship program underneath these 2 veteran tackles, learn as much as he could, and be ready to go next year. He may have to speed that process up, or maybe there's another veteran that you have as a swing tackle ahead of the Penn State first rounder that you took this year. We'll see. But ultimately, hopefully Morgan Moses' injury isn't significant. You hate to see it, because this is a veteran team. They're ready to win now, and the last thing you need is some issues up front along the offensive line. It's the reason you went out and you traded for Morgan Moses. It's the reason you went out and you signed Tyron Smith. It's the reason that you went out and you did the things that you did to solidify this line, John Simpson, et cetera, because you didn't want to have these issues with 40-year-old, soon to be 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers. You wanted to protect him. You wanted to keep him upright. You didn't want him running for his life. So hopefully there is nothing significantly wrong with Morgan Moses on a night that was pretty much perfectly scripted. That was the one thing that was probably a damper on the night, was seeing him go down late in this game when the game was already decided. You hate to see that. Hopefully he is okay. Defensively, it was good to see them kind of set that tone. Although I thought the Patriots missed some opportunities to make this game a lot more competitive than it ultimately was. They could have made some more plays. And I'll tell you what I think the turning point of this game ultimately was when we get to the Patriots side of things. But defensively, it was good to see the Jets stop the run. There were some good hits in the run game, and the Patriots made too many mistakes. One of them was a big run by Ramondre Stevenson. He negates that with a face mask penalty. So they just couldn't get out of their own way. But again, credit the Jets defensively. They got after Jacoby Brissett. He never was able to get comfortable, get into any kind of rhythm. They took the run game away for the most part, and they said, hey, you go beat us. And we all know Jacoby Brissett isn't built to beat anybody with his arm. He needs the defense, he needs special teams, and he needs a hell of a run game to get it done. So the Jets went about it the right way, as Kirk Herbstreit said during the game. The Patriots don't have any deep threats that scare you, so you can stack the box. You can be aggressive at the line of scrimmage and dare them to push the football vertically, because who's going to do it? I mean, they got the Thornton kid. He stinks, right? So all he is good for is running the deep ball, and, running deep routes. And is he even good at that? We just know he's fast. That's all we know, right? So when I look at what the Jets did tonight, this was the type of performance I was looking for, that I really needed to see from them. This is an inferior opponent that you're supposed to wallop, that you're supposed to trample over and make it look easy. And that's what they did tonight. And that's what I wanted to see from them. I had them winning this game 26-16 in a closely contested ball game that they would pull away late in. Good to see that they wanted no parts of that, and that they had different plans to come in, dominate, put these boys to sleep early. This is what you do to a bad football team. You put them away early. You let them know that tonight's not their night, and you make sure that there's no confidence that they're building, or they're not thinking to themselves, why not us? Why not tonight? This is why not you, and this is why not tonight. Maybe some other week, but not tonight. And they did that early in this game, and they kept them at bay. Didn't surrender a single touchdown to the Patriots tonight, and really weren't even close to giving up a touchdown tonight until late at the end of the game when Drake May got in. So kudos to the Jets defense tonight for getting it done. Aaron Rodgers and the offense had their best performance of the season by far and away, not even close. And now they're starting to trend towards the team that I thought they were going to be last year. Now at 2-1 on the season, with 2 wins under their belt in a row. Now the next step is going to be when they play good teams. Next week, I think they have the Denver Broncos. That's another game that you fully expect them to win. And this is why I said I think the Jets, and I said this before the season started, even after they lost in week 1, I remained resolute in my stance. I think the Jets are going to win this division because they have the easiest path to winning the AFC East. They're going to have to beat the Bills, and they're going to have to take care of the Dolphins when they see them. But who knows what's going to happen with Tua this season. But they're going to have to beat the Bills, because they're the bullies on the block right now. They're running the street, right? They're running the East. But the Bills have a tough schedule. They play a first-place schedule. They got to play the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Whereas this Jets team doesn't have to play the Kansas City Chiefs. So, and I could go on and on about the teams that they'll have to play. They're playing all the first-place teams around the AFC. The Jets don't have to do that. So when I look at the Jets and their schedule and their path to AFC East supremacy, it is a much easier path than that of the Bills, which is why I think they're going to ultimately win this division, right? They're going to beat the Broncos next week. They're going to get to 3-1, and I expect the Bills to beat the Jags on Monday night, right? But the Jags are no pushover, right? So again, we'll see. They all played the AFC South. I expect this division, if you're any good, to clean up the AFC South. There may be a hiccup with Houston. That's the one team that may get, these teams in this division. We'll see. But I expect everyone to beat Indy. I expect everybody to beat Tennessee. I expect everybody to beat Jacksonville if you're playing good football, right? So the real question will be, what do the Bills do against some of that upper echelon talent? And then what do the Bills and Jets do when they play one another? Because even when the Jets weren't good, they would always give the Bills trouble. So I don't think that changes now that Aaron Rodgers is in the lineup. I think that gets even more problematic for the Bills moving forward. So I like the Jets in this division. And ultimately, if they stay relatively healthy and they continue to grow and gel together, and this defense is what they've been, look out for the Jets in the AFC. And not just in the AFC East, but in the conference as a whole. And someone asked me today, who is the biggest threat to the Chiefs in the AFC? And I brought the Jets up, but I said, I need to see it first. Because last year, I was bullish on the Jets going into the season. They play more like this moving forward. And I think they could be the biggest threat to the Chiefs. Because they beat the Chiefs last year with Zach Wilson at quarterback, right? Like, we know defensively, Robert Saleh and company, Jeff Ulbrich, they can get after Patrick Mahomes. They have the antidote. Now, that was a different iteration of the Chiefs with less speed and talent on offense. And are they getting Hollywood Brown? Somebody's out for the season. Is it Hollywood Brown that's out for the season? I think he is done for the season. I think they said if they make it to the playoffs and they get into the postseason, he may be able to come back from that for that. So with Isaiah Pacheco out for the time being, we'll see what the Chiefs are made of. They're a much more talented offense than they were last year, are the Chiefs, but that doesn't change my mind. I think this Jets team has a chance to really be disruptive in the AFC. And with Rodgers playing the way that he did tonight, they are a contender for sure. But again, it was the Patriots. Take it with a grain of salt, right? Like, don't get too crazy and carried away. If you weren't, look, I was bullish on the Jets already. I already said that I thought they were winning that division. So a night like tonight is going to do wonders for me and what I already thought about them. I just needed to see it. I saw it tonight. Now I feel even better about how I felt going into the season. For someone that doesn't believe in the Jets or thinks someone else is going to win the division like Buffalo, this shouldn't move the needle for you all that much, other than, okay, I see what they can be when they start clicking, but I still need to see them beat someone actually that's good, right? So I get that too. But in any event, let's talk about the Patriots real quick. The Pats tonight, I thought that this game turned on the second offensive possession for the Patriots. The Jets had just gone down, put together a impressive drive, capped it off with the touchdown. Rodgers' first touchdown pass as a Jet. Coincidentally enough, to Alan Lazard, he ran over, gave him the football. Crowd is in a frenzy. They're feeling good. You need to silence them. They put together a solid little, first 4 or 5 plays. They get to a second down and long opportunity, and they take a shot, right? Play action fake, get good protection. Jacoby Brissett's got, I want to say it was a tight end, might have been a wide receiver running like a corner route, and he's open, and he's got the defender beat by a step and a half, and Jacoby Brissett misses him. And that's why Jacoby Brissett's Jacoby Brissett, because you hit that pass, you're in the Jets territory, the crowd sits down, they shut up, and now you got a chance to put points on the board. Whether it's a touchdown, a field goal, doesn't matter. You just need to respond to what the Jets just did. And instead, he misses that. I think he gets sacked on the next play, or whatever the case may be. They punt the football, and the Jets went down and they scored again. And next thing you know, it's 14-0. And they're not built. The Patriots aren't built to come from behind down 2 touchdowns. The Patriots are built to play ball control, keep themselves in the game, keep it low scoring, muck the game up. That's what they want to do. They don't want to get into a shootout. They don't want to have to score 27. They don't want to have to score 30 because they're not built to do that. They don't have the horses. They don't have the talent at the skill positions. They don't have the talent at quarterback. That's not what they want to do. They want to play in that 16 to 13 range. They want to play in that 20 to 16 range. That's where they want to live. The furthest they can stretch themselves is 23 to 20, which is what that game ultimately was against Seattle. They just were on the wrong side of it. But that's as far as they go. All right, 23 points. Anything north of that, you got them, right? You got them. And so once the Jets had 14 and they had nothing, now you running the football, using that to your advantage to try to that's all dead now. Now you got to try to throw the football to get your way back into this game, and you're just not built to do that. And so that miss by Jacoby Brissett for me was the beginning of the end. He needed to hit that throw. Alex Van Pelt put him in a position to get some points back on that possession, and Jacoby Brissett missed, and that's who he is. 12 of 18 for 90 some odd yards and no touchdowns. What did I tell you before the game? I said we're going to get a typical Jacoby Brissett performance. I said 18 of 26 for 128 yards, no touchdowns, no interception. You can't beat anybody doing that shit on a regular basis. You might sneak somebody like you did in week 1 doing that bullshit. You're not going to beat anybody, with that kind of quarterback. And this is why I don't love Jacoby Brissett as a backup, because I told you I want my backup quarterback to come in like Gardner Minshew and do something. Push, pull, do something. Jacoby Brissett is just holding the rope. He don't push. He don't pull. He don't do anything. He's just holding the rope, right? And so I need my backup to come in and create some kind of fireworks, whether it's positive or negative, good or bad. I don't give a shit. What I don't want is an indifferent backup quarterback. And that's what Jacoby Brissett is. He's the kind of guy that if your quarterback is out for 4 or 5 games, yeah, you want Jacoby Brissett, because he's going to come in and he'll steady the ship. He won't do anything crazy. And if you got a really solid run game, really solid defense, he won't lose you the game and he'll give you a shot. But if you got a quarterback that goes out midway through the second quarter and you need a quarterback to come in and give you a spark, it ain't Jacoby Brissett that you're looking for, because he ain't going to do shit. And in this league, give me an Andy Dalton off the bench, right? Because Andy, he going to let that bitch fly. And whether it goes to the right team or the wrong team, doesn't matter. Andy going to let that bitch fly, right? Give me Jameis Winston. Jameis is going to come in, and he's trying to eat a dub, right? And Jameis is going to let it fly. And whether it goes to the right color jersey or the wrong color jersey, it's going somewhere, right? Same thing with Gardner Minshew and all them type of dudes. Jacoby Brissett is as bland as it gets at the quarterback position. He fits New England, to be honest with you. That's the kind of football that they're playing right now. This bland style, don't turn it over. Let the defense give us a chance. Run the football. Like, they're not the Steelers, though. That's the problem. Is they don't have TJ Watt. They don't have Alex Highsmith. They don't have Minkah Fitzpatrick. They don't have Patrick Queen. They don't have the horses to make that defense work and find a way to gut out a 13-6 victory. They're not them, right? They want to be, but they're not. Because Jacoby Brissett ain't running the football like Justin Fields will, right? So it's unfortunate, but it's not. Because if you're a fan like myself who's watched this Patriots reign of terror over, the better part of the, all of the 2000s into the 20 teens, and the better part of the 20 teens, then you stay good. And I hope you stay down for a while, right? We'll see what happens with the Patriots. Drake May could change their fortunes. He got some mop-up duty here at the very end of the game. It was good to see him get out there and throw it around a little bit. And there'll be more of these opportunities because they're going to stink, right? This is the beginning of the Patriots realizing who they are this season. And the more teams they run into with offensive chops, the more likely it is they're going to end up in positions like this into the fourth quarter, getting drubbed. And, okay, let's see what Drake May has. Let's throw him out there, get him some more reps and some more snaps. And eventually we'll get to a point in the season when they're 2-7. I've already said they'll be 2-7 through 10 weeks of football. And by the time they get to that point, they'll realize, okay, the season's done. We're not making the playoffs. let's give the young fella a spin, see what he's got. Let's start the Drake May era. And so I'm looking for week 11, 12, somewhere in there where they acknowledge, okay, we're cooked. We're not going anywhere. Let's see what the young fella has. So there'll be 2 or 3 more of these opportunities, late game situations, Patriots getting their ass kicked, where he'll get in before he actually has the keys turned over to him to become the full starter. But if they can't run the football with Ramondre Stevenson and or Antonio Gibson, they have zero chance because there's just not enough talent at the receiver position. I think they've got enough talent at tight end, but that's not going to carry you. And Jacoby Brissett is just not a guy that's going to, move the needle enough to give you a fighting chance in those situations. Week 1 was a perfect Jacoby Brissett type game. Don't turn it over, make timely throws, smart decisions, hand the ball off, give us a chance. Last week, similar situation. Almost pulled it off. But when teams start scoring points and the Patriots aren't hanging around, they're down big, this is the end result right here. This is the end result. This is what it looks like. So, let's see what the Patriots next. I want to see what both of these teams' schedule look like moving forward. Because I'll tell you when the Patriots have another shot to win. They got the 49ers next week. That's an ass kicking. They got the Dolphins. They can win that game, and I think we did this with them already. They got the Dolphins. Tua won't be back. He was placed on IR, so he's going to miss at least the next 4 games. So that's a winnable game at home. We'll see if they can get that one done. Dolphins still have way more talent than them, so if they just get competent quarterback play from Skylar Thompson, they can beat the Patriots. They got the Texans after that. That's an ass kicking. The Jags over in London. That'll be an interesting game because the Jags are struggling right now. And I think they're going to fall to Buffalo and drop to 0-3 on the season. So we'll see what kind of football they're playing by the time we get to the midpoint, latter stages of October. Then they get these Jets again. Titans, that's another game they could win. Bears after that on the road. Rams, you'd like to think that they'll have their act together. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua will be back by that point. But who knows where the Rams season will be by then. Dolphins again. So they got some games they can win, but at the end of the day, by the time, if they don't beat the Dolphins, I don't know, because I actually like the way the Titans are playing right now. If they don't beat the Dolphins, I don't know if they get another win until Drake May gets in. And again, you could be 1-8, 1-9 by the time they make that decision. But I don't foresee them winning a lot of games this season. That's just the reality of the situation and the roster that they've put together. Meanwhile, the Jet side of things, they have the Broncos next, which I just talked about, at home. That's a game that they should be able to take care of. Then you're over in London versus the Vikings. That should be interesting because they've gotten off to such a hot start. Then you have the Bills on a Monday night, and that's going to be fun. That's going to be, more likely than not, that'll be for first place in the division at the time of that game. And there's nobody else. With the Dolphins having Tua out and them kind of taking a downturn here, you'd like to think that they're going to kind of fade to black here. And it's really going to become a 2-team race in this AFC East, the Jets and the Bills. So that one at home on a Monday night, you got to have that one if you're the Jets. Then you have the Steelers on the road, Patriots again, Texans after that, the Cardinals on the road, Colts at home. This is a very doable schedule. There's some toughies in here, right? Some teams you got to respect. You got to respect the Steelers on the road. You got to respect the Texans. You got to respect the Cardinals. Like these aren't easy games by any stretch of the imagination, but they're very winnable games if you're playing good football. This is a very doable schedule here that the Jets have. And again, they just got to take care of business. This is a 11-6, 12-5 type schedule. And 12-5 wins the AFC East. I don't think the Bills are a 12-5 team this year. I think they could be 11-6. I think the Bills are probably more along the lines of 10-7, but I could see them going 11-6. I don't think the Bills are a 12-5 team. Meanwhile, I think this is a 12-5 schedule for the Jets. So you get to 12 wins, I think you're going to win this division if you're the New York Jets. But again, you know what was startling and jarring? I did not know this. I actually thought it was a mistake when they said it. I'm listening to the telecast, and Al Michaels says, the last time the Jets went to the postseason, they went to the AFC Championship. And I'm like, you mean the last time they went to the playoffs? Like, the last time they won a playoff game, I mean. You mean the last time they won a playoff game, they went to the AFC Championship game. You don't mean the last time they went to the playoffs. Because we all know the last time they went to the AFC Championship game was in 2009. They had that stretch there, 2 years. They went back-to-back years with Dirty Chez, and you're talking 07, 08, or 08, 09, or 09, 10. Like it's no later than that, because these are the Rex Ryan days. And the first year was Dirty Chez as a rookie, and the next year was his second year, and they went back-to-back years. So Dirty Chez was probably at SC. What, his last year at SC was probably 06, I would guess. I'm trying to think. It had to be later than that, because Reginald Bush was what, the 05 draft, right? I think he was the 05 draft. So after, it had to be later than that. It had to be like 11. It had to be 10 and 11, I think, because after Matt Leinart, I think Leinart was that same draft probably with Reginald Bush. Then they had another quarterback. It was one more quarterback. He was not nice. And then it was Dirty Chez, I feel like, after Leinart, because it was Palmer, then it was Leinart, then it was a bum. He made it to the league, though, and then it was Dirty Chez. So I'm thinking it had to be 20, let's call it 10 and 11. So when he said that shit, it shook me to my core, because I'm like, he said the last time they went to the playoffs, they actually made it to the AFC Championship game. I'm like, wait. You mean the last time they won a playoff game? You don't mean the last time they actually went to the playoffs. That's a long time, Al. They've been to the playoffs since 09 or 2010 or 11 or whatever the hell the 2 years were in a row. Right? I'm like, nah, in my mind, I'm thinking 07, 08, 08, 09, 09, 10, somewhere in there, right? And then I thought about it. I was like, wait a minute. He didn't stutter. He said what he meant. He meant what he said. He said they haven't been to the playoffs since they went to the AFC Championship game. And I was like, it's been that long, Jets fans? No wonder them Jets fans last year, when Aaron Rodgers made that home debut in week 1 against the Bills, were going crazy. These fans are starving. Starving for a winner. I thought my team, it was bad for my squad. Yeah, we ain't won a playoff game since 05, but at least we been. To not go? To not even be a part of bonus activities since, we're talking almost 15 years? Man, that's rough. That is rough. That is a tough existence. And it's not like they got a Super Bowl to show for it where they could go, hey, we still got 09, man. We won a Super Bowl. Like, that is rough. Like, they need this shit. They need Aaron Rodgers to take them to the playoffs. They need this. Just to be able to say, take me off that list. You know, as a fan of a team that's on a lot of bad lists, I don't like seeing my name on lists that is the type of list that they put up on the screen and you feel embarrassed and ashamed. I don't like being on lists like that. That list of longest playoff win droughts, I don't want to be on that list. We got to win a playoff game so that when they start talking about that shit, they don't show that shit and our name is on that list. Because right now, I bet you our name is on that list if they list the 5 teams that have the longest playoff win drought. The Jets' name are on that list too, right? Because they haven't even been, right? That's a whole different list. Haven't been to the playoffs. Playoff drought, that's a different list. I'm talking about wins in the playoffs. That's a different type of energy than, hey, we ain't been in over a decade. They don't even know how to act when they get there. The mere mention of the postseason and the Jets is like, damn, who we voting for? Is Obama going for presidency? Like, they don't even know who's in office. That's how long it's been since they've been in the playoffs. I'm rooting for them to have a winner this year. I actually like Jets fans, by the way. I don't know why I like Jets fans, but I do. And they deserve a winner because this is rough. I didn't realize it was that bad. They're gonna get it this year, though. As long as Aaron Rodgers is healthy, they're going to get a winner this year. They're going to get a winner. And I don't think it's going to be just any winner. Like, they can win the Super Bowl. That's how good they can be if Aaron Rodgers is healthy. This is a Super Bowl caliber roster, which is why I thought they could win last year. And I think they're even better this year because they fortified the offensive line. Now, again, Morgan Moses, what's the status there? You know, that's something that you don't want to start seeing, that injuries start hacking away at pieces of this roster. But they're a better roster this year than they were last year. They're better at running back. They're better on the offensive line. They added a few more weapons like Mike Williams at receiver. They're deep at tight end. Now, they did lose one of their edge rushers, and that sucks. And that's why I said this is the only thing that can derail their season, is if they start having guys dropping like flies. All right. Lost one of their pass rushers for the season last week. Morgan Moses goes down tonight. Hopefully, again, that's not a serious injury. But that's the only thing that can start hacking away at their season, is if they start losing players. But they're in a really good spot, are the Jets. Anyway, I digress. Let's get to it. Let's get to Inside the Odds, brought to you by BetUS.
Inside the Odds.
So, looking for a new book this football season? BetUS is the answer. Fastest payouts in the industry. Get up to 10% back on your net losses twice a year. And here's the kicker. For my viewers, 150% sign-up bonus on up to $2,000 on your first 3 deposits when you use the promo code YouTube150. So let's get to the odds for this game, brought to you by BetUS. The Patriots were 6-point dogs in this game. Jets, it felt like they could easily have been bigger favorites in this game, the Jets. But because they had played uninspiring football the first 2 weeks, Vegas played it safe. But they knew the Jets were favorites in this game. And you could have made them even heavier favorites. I thought the real number here should have been 7.5, but that's nor here nor there. The bottom line is the Jets covered the spread easily. And the total in this game was 39. Clearly, you take the under there just because the Patriots are in this game. Jets haven't been dynamic on offense either. Their highest output to this point was 24, which was last week against the Titans. They matched that tonight, but you knew the Patriots weren't going to score very many points. So I told you I thought the score was going to be 26-16, which would have been over that total. But that was being really optimistic. If I were slapping down money, I would have gone under because I didn't trust the Patriots to score a bunch of points. And I didn't think that you'd get a total over, the 39 that's here. But it's going to be interesting to see if the Jets can get to a point where they're scoring 30-plus points, So real quick, let's take a look at a couple of specials from today. And I love the specials on BetUS. This is one of the things that I feel like this is where the money is. And I'm big on, hey, where can I make some money, right? It's cool to slap down $10 on, plus 110, that's cool. You're not really profiting a ton though, right? I need some real action. Give me some real opportunities to win some money. And a lot of times these opening drives are a great way to make some quick money, man, some quick cash, because now you got to hit, right? It sounds easy in theory, but you got to hit. But Patriots first drive, Jets first drive. So neither team scored on their opening drive. Both teams punted. So I always like to see what the odds are, what Vegas thinks is more likely than not to happen. On the Patriots drive, Vegas said they're going to punt, which is why punting was minus 150, right? And whereas everything else was plus, right? Plus 450 on a touchdown. They said they're not scoring on their opening possession. Plus 350, a field goal attempt. Once again, Vegas is like, nah, they're not doing that neither. They're not scoring no points on their opening drive. And any other outcome, a safety, something like that, a turnover, right? Plus 450. So that was interesting. They hit that right on the head. They punted on their opening possession. Now, I would have been wrong on the Jets because I would have put down money on a Jets opening possession touchdown because I felt like it was so much energy in that building with Rodgers coming back. They got robbed of that last year, right? They got 4 plays. Rodgers went down. The building went silent. Robert Saleh had a meme that will live on forever. His reaction, his face when Rodgers went down, seeing him on the ground, and just seeing Robert Saleh kind of just like it felt like his soul, it looked like his soul left his body. He was just standing there emotionless, like, what in the hell am I watching right now? And so I just felt like all of that energy in that building, the Jets were going to come out and score in their opening possession. I was 1 possession off. They did score on the second possession, but they punted on their opening possession as well. So even that was plus 110 for the Jets because Vegas is telling you, we think that they can score a touchdown on their first possession. That's why punt and offensive touchdown rather, we're so close in terms of the odds. So I would have probably slapped down some money on offensive possession touchdown, and I would have lost. But I would have felt confident in that. And I was off. And they had a drive. They put together a drive, and then it stalled out right around midfield, and they had to punt. And so they pinned the Patriots. Patriots started their first possession. That was a quick 3 and out. Jets got the ball back, got good field position, and they went down and got a touchdown. And so they were off and running after that. So those are your odds brought to you by BetUS. We'll come back here if need be a little bit later on in the show. But let's get to the comment section, see what you guys have to say about tonight's game or any other games or any other things you want to comment about. Ree, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Ree, or excuse me, thank you for being a mod. My guy, Ree, writes, Aaron Rodgers still has it. Does he ever? Still has zip on the ball, touch when needed. I mean, New England stinks, but it was nice to see him doing his thing. Ditto. I couldn't agree with you more. The touchdown pass to Garrett Wilson was a great example of that, man. That wasn't bad coverage by Gonzo. He tried to undercut it, and Rodgers just perfectly placed that ball with high velo. That thing had hot sauce to go on it, and it was outside, out of the reach of Gonzo, trying to undercut it in the perfect spot it had to be in to catch it, stretch it, touchdown, right? I mean, the accuracy on the move, I've said this a million times. The accuracy on the move, I've never seen it better than Aaron Rodgers in NFL history. And there are people that'll tell me about John Elway. John Elway ain't doing the shit Aaron Rodgers has been doing in his career. Sorry, not sorry. All right. And I know Elway was a bad boy, but Elway wasn't throwing a frozen rope, 50 yards down the field with a receiver standing on the sidelines like he did against the Cowboys in that playoff game to Jared Cook for the game-winning field goal. Like that, John Elway wasn't doing that shit. Sorry, right? Rodgers is a different animal, man. And he still got it, like you said. You saw the zip on the football, the accuracy. And you know, the thing that I was pleased to hear, because a lot of times when you get guys at this point of their careers where Rodgers is right now, the things that lead up to game day aren't fun. You know, the meetings, the preparation, the practices, that shit becomes mundane. You become jaded by that. You just want to play in the games. I remember Brett Favre saying, bro, and Michaels talked about it. I remember Brett Favre talking about, hey, I could play for another 10, 15 years if I just got to suit up on game day and play. I don't want to do all that other stuff, though. That practice shit, them meetings, I don't want to do none of that shit. Just let me play, right? That's why his ass threw so many goddamn interceptions, because he won't, in the meetings, understanding what the defense was trying to do. He just wanted to go out and sling it, right? I think Tom Brady became, you know, jaded with all that came with the preparation and, you know, all of that stuff. Physically, Tom Brady could still do it. Mentally, I think he was drained, though. But, you know, Rodgers being 40 and hearing him say, "No, I still love this." I think part of that comes from it was taken away from him last year, and he got a just a little snippet of what it's like to not have it, and he was like, "Yo, I don't want that shit. I'm not ready for that yet." So I think there's a greater appreciation for it this year. He might not feel the exact same way next year, right? But this year he's locked in. Eric Sunderland, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy. Eric writes, Olu Fashanu not a starter somewhere. Surprised seeing him as a backup. I remember wanting him in the draft. Is he not good or just still developing? He's still developing. I didn't think he was ready to come in and start anywhere. I wasn't an Olu Fashanu fan, right? I thought that there were a lot of parts of his game that needed work. He could be a good, you know, tackle in this league, but he needs work. And that's why they went out and they drafted him, because they knew he wasn't ready, but they also knew they had the ability to go out and get a Tyron Smith and get a Morgan Moses, and he could sit and learn. Behind a future Hall of Famer and a guy that has played good football in this league for a very long time in Morgan Moses. So it's a good situation for him to be in. It's not that dissimilar to a quarterback who isn't ready, but you know he's super talented. So you take him and you let him sit behind a veteran that he can learn from. Same thing. You can do that at other positions. Teams just generally don't, right? But the Jets are in a position where, because their roster was so talented and they expected to win with Aaron Rodgers, they were playing with house money. So they were like, we don't have to take a guy that we need production from in the first round. Most teams that are drafting as high as the Jets were last year, they need good football players. They need a player at a specific position to help them, because they're not that good. That's why they're drafting where they're drafting. The Jets, on the other hand, if they had Aaron Rodgers, they wouldn't have been drafting there. Their roster was ready to win a Super Bowl. That was a Super Bowl caliber roster last year. So they were in a position where they were playing with house money. We could take a player and redshirt him because we don't actually need anything in particular. We could just literally take best player available. And if that happens to be a tackle that's not ready, cool. We can just put him on the bench and let him learn, right? So it's a great place to be. Not many teams find themselves in that position. But that's where the Jets found themselves, which is why he wasn't playing. Ree, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Rarely Even writes, double up, thank you for doubling up. Gerard Mayo looks like a dude who asked for the manager at a grocery store, but not to complain, but only to point out how well the staff is doing. Hey, Gerard Mayo, I'll be trying to pinpoint, like, what is he? Like, what kind of a guy he is? I listen to him talk. I think about him in one sense. But then I realize and I remember he's a Patriot. So I kind of got a feel for who he is and what he stands for. And he's a former player too, so he gets it. But, you know, sometimes I look at him on the sidelines and he just kind of looks like head tilted to the side, and he's kind of like staring into space. And I'm like, I wonder what he's thinking right now. You know, like tonight he was looking like, man, this is some bullshit. But it also looked like he was like, damn, I wonder if Arby still got that 5 for $555 deal. Like he looked like he's thinking about some random shit, not football related. And he looked like he was mad. You know what I mean? But not mad because they was getting their ass whooped. Mad because tonight didn't go the way he wanted it to, but he would rather be doing something else right now. You know? I don't know. Video channel. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Lou, I'll be at the Cincy game with my Cincy boys. I'm ready to go behind enemy lines. Full report for y'all on Monday Night Football post game. Look at you infiltrating enemy territory. It won't be a lot of you, so you'll be going on in there on a special ops mission because it ain't gonna be too many of y'all in there repping the squad. But I love the fact that you're getting into the building and you know what you got to do. All right. Shh. This is a top secret mission. All right. Only the brave go in and come out alive. I need you to go in there and handle business. All right. I'll be looking for a thorough briefing on my desk at 11. Let's call it 11:35 Monday night. All right. Elf Life. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Elf Life writes, why isn't Derek Forrest starting? I know for a fact that he's a better tackler than Chin. He played well in 2022. What's DQ's beef with him? Look, we're not at practice every day. And I can't tell you what they feel about Derek Forrest. I agree with you on Derek Forrest being a better tackler than Jeremy Chin. He just, to me, he plays with that speed and that level of aggression that I think they would like, but clearly there's something that they don't love about Derek Forrest. And I know the injury that he sustained in camp slowed him down, and any progress that he was trying to make was stunted by that injury. But they brought in Chin. They like his size. They like his speed. His body type fits. He's a much longer, and I think that's the biggest thing is Derek Forrest is 5'11". He doesn't have long arms. He doesn't have long limbs. They like tall, long defenders. Pause. The guy they had in Dallas last year that was essentially undersized safety playing linebacker for them. This dude was like 6'3", 6'4", you know, like 205 pounds or whatever, 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", 205 pounds, getting pushed around in the box, but he has that length. And so they like longer defenders. So Chin fits that mold. I don't think Derek Forrest does. So I think that's part of the rationale. I don't think that's the only reason. There might be other reasons that we don't know about. We're not at practice every day. I generally don't like to play the why isn't this guy? I mean, it's one thing if you're not starting, but you're active. This man not even active on game days. They don't even see the value in having Derek Forrest active on game days. So that says a lot to me. Like, we don't even think you have enough value on game days to run down on special teams and be active. We got other guys that we feel like are better than you at that. So right now, I mean, this is Derek Forrest's last year in Washington, clearly. So I don't know what's going to happen. Elf Life, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, spill some old head wisdom, Lou. How tall are you? I say 5'6". Oh, man. Damn, I look that short? Nah, man. I'm 6 feet tall. I'm 6 feet. Flat. I used to try to pass off being 6'2". Like in high school, they don't really give you, they don't really, if you look at the high school program, they just ask you how tall you are. You tell them whatever the hell you want to, and they'll just put it on the program. I mean, you can't tell them you 6'5". Like they know I'm not 6'5", but you tell them you 6'2", 180. I was never more than 165 pounds a day of my life in high school, but I was 6'2", 180 on the program, right? But I'm 6 feet tall, man. Elf Life, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member for 3 months. Right. I feel like we win Monday. I don't know why. Strange feeling. Bless your heart, Elf Life. I hope you're right. I don't have that same strange feeling that you do. But I'll be there at 8:15 in front of my television, rooting like hell for the team to go, 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 go. Ree, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Jacoby Brissett looks like such a nerd. Why you got to come after Jacoby like that, man? I bet while Mayo is trying to motivate the team at halftime, Jacoby is sitting there with his ant farm. Jacoby Brissett, having seen him in action last year, he's a cool dude, but he definitely came up in that Patriots culture. So he's sort of no nonsense. But I don't think he's as big a nerd as you think. I'll just say that. But aren't we all nerds? You know, to some degree, some more, some less than others. But aren't we all nerds to some degree at something? Anyway, Cam G, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Cam G writes, have you ever been to a Diddy party? What kind of a question is that? Like, that's so random too. Colin talk sports. Stand up. You are the newest member of the MOBB mob. You know what to do. Show Colin some love. Welcome him with open arms. You know what it is. Colin is so glad to finally have you on board. Welcome to the squad. Glad to have you aboard. Colin, talk sports. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. And thank you for becoming the newest member of the MOBB, who writes, Lou, glad to join the mob. So glad to have you, man. Funny stat, Shohei Ohtani scored 4 runs and 10 RBIs by himself tonight, and the Pats scored 3 points. I'm still amazed at what Shohei Ohtani did tonight. Became the first member of the 50-50 club, the only member, right? And I don't see too many other guys doing that, which is why it had never been done before. He just did it. The man did it in epic fashion, though, with 3 home runs, 10 RBIs, and like you said, and 2 stolen bases and 4 runs, which is just insane, right? And here are the Pats, struggling to scrape across three points, right? It was that type of night. Ree, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Ree writes, what food do you miss most from pre-vegan days? I don't miss much, honestly. I'll tell you what, and I've said this before, when people ask me about being vegan, a lot of times that's one of the questions you get is, what did you miss? What do you miss eating the most? The thing that I miss the most is the convenience. When I go to restaurants, we go out to eat, I have to go and either eat something like an appetizer, like guac and chips, or something to that effect, or French fries. If they don't have vegan options, which most places don't. And so what I've learned to do is just eat before I go a lot of times, which sucks because if you're going out to eat, that's the purpose of going out to eat. It's not to go and eat some Chipotle, or even though I love kava, and there in a day that goes by that I can't go for some kava, but I do get tired of Chipotle. I don't really get tired of kava, but it sucks when you're going somewhere to eat and you can't really eat anything off the menu. So, and at some points you get tired of chips and guac. You get tired of eating French fries. So what I generally do is I just eat before I go now. And so I can just have drinks when I go to wherever I'm going, right? But that's the thing I miss is the convenience of being able to say, hey, I'm about to just go get me some Chick-fil-A. Or, man, I'm about to just go get me a McChicken from McDonald's, right? And just get something real quick. That you can't do that when you're vegan, you know? I'll tell you this, though. I miss this. The only time of the year where I truly miss stuff is Halloween. I love Kit Kats. I love Twixes. I love chocolate Halloween candy. And obviously, I can't eat that stuff. So if I had to tell you I miss anything, it'd be sweets because I'm a big sweets guy. I don't eat as many sweets now, but which is probably a good thing. Probably a good thing, but I miss sweets. I love Kit Kats. Oh my God. Kit Kat is the best chocolate, best Halloween candy. You know, when I was coming up in the game, go trick-or-treating, I'd trade just about anything in my bucket for Kit Kats. You know, I was trying to accumulate as many Kit Kats as I could. When I used to take the small little ones trick-or-treating, when I'd get that bucket when they go to bed, get in that bucket, snatch out, you know, all the Kit Kats I could find and hoard them things, right? So I do miss Kit Kats for sure, without question. Don Everhart, really appreciate you as always. And once again, thank you for your generosity. Don Everhart gifted 10 memberships. Stand up to all of the newest members of the MOBB. Welcome to the squad, courtesy of Don Everhart and his tremendous generosity. Once again, thank you so much, Don Everhart, for your unwavering support and generosity. All right. Let's see. Think. Let's get to the comment section. We got a few more minutes here. I'll knock down a couple of these hashtags before we get out of here. I'm excited to see us play on Monday night too, John. It's going to be fun. We don't get many of these opportunities. You got to earn these opportunities, and we don't earn them very often. But that's about to change. It's about to change. I really believe that. Ree, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Ree writes, follow-up question. How hard was the transition? What was the toughest thing to kick? It wasn't hard at all, actually. People ask me that. See, a wise man once said, I don't live to eat. I eat to live. And I sort of live by that moniker, right? That mantra, because like a lot of people, including my wife, so we went vegan together. And she was the one that kind of pushed me. I knew I had wanted to go vegan for a long time because I know that the things you put in your body are very important. And I don't like preaching to people about their diet or anything. Look, do what makes you happy. And if you like eating good food, eat. Shit, we only get one life, right? I just chose to not eat a lot of the shit that I feel like is, you know, toxic. So she pushed me to go vegan. And we went together, but her thing was she likes chicken wings, right? And she likes buffalo chicken dip. And so she had weaknesses. And so we'd go somewhere and people would be busting down wings in her face and they wouldn't clean the bone. And she'd be like, that's not how you eat wings. And I'm like, why are you worried about what somebody else doing? Eat your food, right? Because that's not how you clean a wing. I'm like, okay. So I knew she wasn't going to last long. And then she got pregnant and then her mom started telling her, well, how are you going to get your protein and this, that, and the third? And she was looking for an excuse. She was looking for a reason to not be vegan anymore. And a lot of people what they find it, the hardest thing for people is to kick the things that they like the most. And I always tell people that even if you don't have to become vegan, like I was able to quit cold turkey. Like literally, we went on a cruise. I ate one burger, and that burger was so good. I remember like it was yesterday. I destroyed that burger. We got there just in time to the burger place on the cruise was closing. And we got there just in time as they were closing up shop. I got the last burger that they gave out, and I crushed that burger, and it was so good, right? That patty melted in my mouth. Pause. And after that, I was like, I'm good. This will be the last, meat that I eat, and I'm good. And I was good after that. I had no issues. I quit cold turkey, and like I said, the biggest adjustment for me was the convenience of it all. Going shopping and not being able to just stop at a Wendy's or not be able to stop at a Chick-fil-A or not be able to stop here and grab something real quick because I'm hungry. Even running into a Walmart, you can't just. I used to love Walmart cookies, the little 3 for 99-cent joints that's right there that they bake at Walmart's bakery and they put right by the door. Oh, cinnamon raisin, I used to kill them, crush them. I told you I like sweets. I can't even do that anymore, right? I couldn't do that anymore. You couldn't go into Walmart and just grab something real quick. Nothing that you grab real quick is vegan, right? More likely than not. So I had to rewire my brain and retrain myself. And so that was the biggest transition, was just adjusting to this new norm, right? For a lot of people, they struggle with, well, I love cheese, or I love chicken, or I love this, or I love that. Well, wean yourself off of that then, right? Slowly. Like, you don't have to quit cold turkey. Or, right, I always tell people, you don't have to be vegan. You could become vegetarian, or you could do this, or you could do that. Or you could say, you know what? During the course of the week, I'm not eating this stuff. And then on the weekends, I treat myself, right? Like, there's different ways you can do it. You don't just have to be vegan. You know what I mean? Because I don't do it like most people who do become vegan. They do it because, animal cruelty. They don't want to have anything to do with animal. That ain't the reason I do it. I don't give a shit about animals. I'm not to be, if you're an animal lover, more power to you. I'm not. I don't care about, oh, this has animal bones in it. Like most what's the name of the stuff that's good for your hair and your nails? Oh my God. I don't know why I'm blanking on it, but a lot of that is made from animal bones, right? And so when you take that, it's good for your nails, it's good for your skin, it's good for your hair. Um, and I mean, I don't take that stuff, but I could take it because I don't really care about that, but it's not vegan, right? And so, like honey, there's a big discussion in the vegan community about whether honey is vegan or not. Most like real vegans just stay away from honey. I stay away from honey, right? But I stay away from honey because bees are the foundation of our existence. If we don't have bees, we cease to exist. So I do my part to not consume honey, right? So otherwise, I'd eat honey. That's not why I'm vegan, because I worry about animal cruelty or anything like that. I'm conscientious of the things I put in my body. That's why I'm vegan, right? So did I say that? I knew this was the last meat I was gonna eat. Pause. That's a major pause, right? That's a major pause. I was definitely tripping. And I do remember saying that. I did say that, didn't I? That's a double pause. Pause on top of a pause. Yikes. Yeah. That's that was super wicked. Oh my God, that was terrible. Anyway, I digress, man. Oh, so okay. I stand corrected. They did not beat the Chiefs. Junio Rudy said they didn't beat the Chiefs. They almost beat the Chiefs. They beat the Eagles. I remember, I think it was either after the Chiefs game or it was after the Eagles game. I think it was after the Chiefs game because Robert Saleh was pissed that they lost the game, and he knew they lost because they didn't have enough offense. And he said, we shut down all the good quarterbacks that we played already. And it was early in the season. And I remember Dallas fans being bent out of shape because he said, we shut down all the good quarterbacks we've seen. And it was true because they had played Josh Allen. They beat them. They shut him down. They had played Mahomes. They lost, but they shut him down. They played somebody else, the Eagles. Jalen Hurts picked him off, made him look bad, won that game. And I thought it was like one more team in there that was pretty decent. I think they lost that game too. But they got beat up by Dallas pretty good. And Cowboys fans like, so you trying to say Dak Prescott now a really good quarterback because he carved y'all ass up and this, that, and the third. I just remember them being in their feelings last year. That was pretty funny. Anyway, I digress. Video channel. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, Lou, you ever been to an away game? No, I've never been to a Skins game as a fan at someone else's stadium. I've been to other teams' games before where Washington wasn't playing at all, but I've never been to a game at someone else's stadium while Washington is there. I actually thought about going to this Bengals game. A buddy of mine lives in, he used to live in Mason. I think he moved though. And he might be in Springfield. No, that's too far. I forgot the exact city he lives in, but he used to live in Mason, which was literally right around the corner from the Bengals stadium. And the last time I went to visit him, like if you drive like 2 lights past the stadium, you in Kentucky. That's how close like the stadium is on the border of Kentucky and Ohio. And I was thinking about visiting him and going to the game. But I thought about it and I was like, nah, that don't make any sense. So I didn't do it. Anyway, I digress. Let's go inside the odds one more time, brought to you by BetUS. Once again, if you're looking for a brand new sports book this football season, BetUS is the answer. Fastest payouts in the industry. Get up to 10% back on your net losses twice a year. And big kicker here. BetUS is offering my viewers not 125, but 150% sign-up bonus on up to $2,000 on your first 3 deposits when you use the promo code YouTube150. So here were some really interesting odds from the game that I wanted to share with you guys, right? So I would have lost my money here. Aaron Rodgers to record a 300-yard passing game tonight. I'd have put out 100 and tried to win 6 because I felt like he was going to hit 300 tonight. And he was dangerously close. And this is why betting for me is dangerous, because now I become obsessed with, like, this is why I don't play fantasy. This is why, it'll have to be something too enticing to pass up from a bet perspective. But it's why I don't do a lot of betting either, because he was so close to 300 tonight. And I would have been snapping off if I would have put down my $100 knowing good and well all he needed was, what did he end up with, like 287 tonight or something like that? 285, 286, something like that. I thought he was going to hit 300 tonight. So that would have been interesting. That's an easy 600 if he hits 300. There were some interesting props, like Aaron Rodgers and Jacoby Brissett combined for 500 yards passing. And I started to pull that one up for you guys tonight, but I was like, Ain't no way in hell that shit happening unless Aaron goes off for 400 by himself, because Jacoby Brissett ain't gonna pull his weight. There was another prop where those two combined for 600. I'm like, you need Jacoby Brissett to throw for 250 and Aaron to throw for 350 for them to get to 600. And Jacoby ain't throwing for 250. It ain't happening. Somebody's got to slip and fall on a slant and a dude run for a 90-yard touchdown for Jacoby Brissett to throw for 250. I thought this one, though, was very realistic. Breece Hall and Ramondre Stevenson, 250 yards or more rushing, $1,200 on the money line. I thought that was very plus 1,200. Man, I'd put down $10 when you're 120 on that, right? I just felt like that was realistic. And then I'm watching Breece Hall get tackled for 7-yard losses. I'm like, well, that shit ain't happening tonight. Ramondre Stevenson, had the big run and then the face mask and the guy. I'm like, this ain't happening tonight. You know what? Braylon Allen might have had more yards than Breece Hall tonight. I'm actually interested to check and see who had more rush yards. Because it felt like Braylon Allen had one more rush yard. It felt like it. Watching it live, he had 11 carries for 55 yards. Breece Hall had 16 carries for 54 yards. It felt like it watching it. He had more yards. I thought it was more than that, though. Yeah, neither of them were close. Ramondre probably had less yards than both of those dudes. He had 23 yards on 6 carries. I think he hurt his finger because I think he left the game, and I don't know if he ever came back after that. He had that one run with the stiff arm, and I don't know if he came back in the game after that. But this is a losing formula for the Patriots. They ran the ball 15 times. They can't win. Let's look at the 2 games they had previous to this one. You can't run the ball 15 times if you're the Patriots. That's not how you play football. They had 36 rushes last week against Seattle for 185 yards. And I'm guaranteeing you it was over 40 in week 1. So against the Bengals. Let's see. It was close. 39 rushes for 170 yards in week 1 against Cincinnati. So, they had 39 in week 1, 36 in week 2, and then 15 tonight. That's not even who they are. Right? They didn't give themselves a good chance tonight to get it done. But I digress. Anyhow, that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on this installment of Thursday Night Football Overtime. AFC East family business. You know how the family do it. And the Jets took care of family business tonight very handily, 24-3. Aaron Rodgers looked to be in rare form. And this is a great sign if you're a Jets fan. 27-35, 281, 2 touchdowns. The defense looked really good. And you dominated a team that you were supposed to dominate. And I wasn't sure if you were going to dominate them going into the game. I wasn't sure. I thought this was going to be a much closer game than it was because I hadn't seen anything in the first 2 weeks that would indicate that this was coming. But it's good to see the Jets kind of get on track. I'm still waiting for that offensive outburst, right? Did they have 400 yards of total offense tonight? My guess is yes. They crept over the 400-yard mark tonight, which is a good sign because the first 2 weeks, I don't think they were even close to that. Let's see. Tonight, they had 400 on the dot. Look at that. 400 on the dot. I can all but assure you that in the first 2 weeks, they were not close to 400 yards. I'm going to say they had 312 yards in week 2 against the Titans. Let's see. 300 on the dot. Oh, no, 265. Excuse me. The Titans had 300 yards of total offense. I knew they weren't close. I thought they were a lot closer than that, though. They didn't even hit 300 yards. 265 in week 1 or 2. And we already know that they stunk it up in week 1 against the 49ers. So I'm pretty sure 266. So prior to today, they weren't even close to 400 yards of total offense. So this was a coming out party for them this season. Now let's see if they can build upon it. They got the Broncos. That's a good defensive team. They can't score points offensively, but that's a good defensive team. I want to see what the Jets do against the Broncos next week. That should be an interesting game, but I digress. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Take care. I look forward to chopping it up with you on the podcast tomorrow. If you're a Commanders fan, a Commanders Nightly News, all that good jazz. But until then, you guys have a good one. Take care. God bless. Good night.